very well. This tractor's got kind of a whine to it a little bit when it's running, but today we're doing some deep ribbon tillage, and you can hear there's spots out here where it's pretty dang compacted. Most of it's been running pretty good and hasn't been really dragging me down too much, but then I get into a few spots where we've had some extra weed pressure, or I know where it's kind of wet in the spring. I really notice the tractor really starts pulling down through these areas, and that's the water essentially in the spring can't drain down through that hard pan that's compacted so much. The last time this had any real deep tillage in it was about 4 years ago, when it was still in transition. It was a hay field, or maybe it was 5 years ago. I think it was 5, but anyway, we didn't subsoil it then. We twisted shanked it, which has a set of disc straight blades in the front, and then a bunch of twisted shanks that were spaced out. I don't know what the gap is, but they're not real close together. They're probably 6 or 8 inches apart, and they're only about 4 inches wide. And they would twist and roll the dirt up out of the ground and really do a pretty good job of knocking the alfalfa or grass, whatever you had established there, knocking it down. Now, this is a complete different tillage. As you can see, it's kind of like a no-till setup, and basically you only want it to go down just to the bottom of that hard pan and lift it up, and it'll wave the ground as it goes through there. It's really kind of difficult to show you how it's doing, and I might be able to get it. But I'll probably have to slow down or wait till we get an almost bare spot. Yeah, it's really hard to see, especially with me trying to drive, turn around backwards. But basically, it's just, if you can see it between the shanks, the ground is slightly lifting up like a whole cake sheet. It lifts that ground up as a big shelf and sets it back down. And what that does is really allows the rain and snow and moisture to get down in there when it's wintertime, and that way that moisture can freeze, and those big sheets of dirt can get the moisture in them, and when they freeze, they'll expand and break that compaction apart. It really works pretty good. You can get away with doing it a little bit in the spring, but you need to have different teeth on. I've got big wide wing teeth on for this for fall. And the spring, you don't really want to go, and you just, the minimum amount of depth as you can run just to grab that compaction pan, hard pan, and you don't want to do a lot of disturbance. In the spring, you really got to be careful. You can turn that into a sinkhole in the spring. You got to be pretty careful. But anyway, this should help get rid of some of my water problems, and hopefully my weed pressure also, where it's a little bit damper in the spring, and the foxtail just really takes off and doesn't want to stay suppressed, which is what I'm trying to do with organic. So I'll do a few video shots of it. There's not a whole lot to show you, other than me just turning around and whatever. Some guys like to go straight down and straight back right next to each other, but this tractor doesn't turn around that short. So what I found is about 7 to 8 rows, about a combine width is what this thing is taking. Not quite, but I can pretty well guess that, and I just do a skip row, 2 skip rows, and then when I come back around the third time, I can grab those 2 that I skipped. Works pretty efficient. Now I've got a few spots where, I'm trying to keep the curve with the contour, so I'm not staying exactly with the combine or planer marks, either one, but it works pretty good. Now there you can hear she's really pulling down. That's kind of a weird spot. It's not really in the trough of the low spot, but it's definitely, it's right back there. Right there's the trough where the water kind of runs down through. It is just up this side of it. Kind of weird that it's hard right there. I don't know why. I've got another trough right here where I'm just going to run through. See both sides of the trough, it pulls pretty hard on. For some reason, we got some extra compaction here for some reason. like I said, here's how I'm doing my skip rows. On that last one I came up here, I turned around and I skipped approximately about what I think was the width of the tractor, and it's pretty close. I'm pretty much spot on that side, and it's narrowing a little bit. I got a little bit off as I was coming up here, but it's pretty dang close. Now as I turn around this next run, I'll skip this one because it's already done. I'll turn around and go over there. When I get back to the other end, then I'll skip another spot and I'll end up clear over there, and then I'll skip another spot and go clear over there and almost be done. And I'll come back and the third and fourth pass I'll fill in those skips. This farm that we're doing here was the super infested with foxtail farm, and even after harvest you can still see there's quite a bit of foxtail trash just sitting here on the surface. It's not a super amount that's really causing a lot of problem, but I mean, you saw the videos, you know what it was like combining this thing. It was a disaster, just super thick, but it's really working up pretty good. You can see right here through the knife mark, on each side of that knife mark, the dirt is slightly lifted up. It kind of looks like a little tunnel, and that's exactly what you want it to look like. It's easier to see with the implement tire right there that's kind of pushing the center down, but even on the middle rows over there, you can still see where the knife is lifting up the dirt on either side of the hole. Now if you're new to this and you're not knowing how to set your subsoiler, there's that hard spot again. If you're going through and you see nothing but a knife track and no ridged dirt, you're going too deep. That ground is essentially beyond your reach. You need to go with something a little deeper, like a DMI or something. But effectively what you're doing, if you're going too deep, hope this thing doesn't need to shift. Might have to. Nope, we can make it through. Anyway, if you're just seeing a knife track like an anhydrous knife track, what you're doing, that as that dirt is being wedged up against the bottom of that hard pan, you're essentially making a double hard pan. So you're reaching down below the hard pan, not lifting it, and the dirt underneath the hard pan you're smearing up against the bottom of that hard pan, so you're making it even worse. So you need to make sure you're using your tool effectively, and that's what that right there is exactly what a subsoiler should be doing. Now this corner right behind me is super compacted, and it's never really grown much there, which is probably why. Anyway, I've just come up through there making that pass going that way just a second ago. Had to drop 3 gears, and it actually pretty much stopped the tractor, and we were just spinning. So yeah, it was pretty damn hard right there. Now we're getting back down here and some good going stuff, we can speed back up. Just buzzing around trying to finish my end rows. I got them all pretty consistent. Should be able to get the end rows in 2 passes, which is kind of handy. But it's kind of hard to turn around that quick, and that's another reason why I do the skip row, so I can leave a smaller amount of end rows to go back and get. Now this bit of foxtail up here I left had absolutely no soybeans in it, so I just left it. But it wasn't terribly hard in there. It's pulling about like it is now, just kind of a little bit. I'm wondering if maybe my cultivator guy just got a little carried away and wiped out these end rows down here. Now I'm gonna have to pick up here and back up, because that was too tight of a curve to get back up here where it needs to be. I won't just back up and get over where I'm supposed to be. I should be right over here in the grass. You don't want to turn too terrible sharp with these things in the ground, because you will essentially bend a shank. So let's get going. I hope. Well, it's getting dark now, and we're finding even harder spots now on this other hill over here. Still pulling pretty hard, but just keep going at it. We'll get her. Probably gonna have to quit here pretty quick and finish back up tomorrow. Don't have quite enough lights on this tractor. I got 2 lights up here on the front. Supposed to be lights on the corners up here in the cab, up over there and up over here, and they're not working. So anyway, we'll probably have to quit here just another 30 minutes or so and have to call tonight, come back and finish her again tomorrow. Not too much left here, and you can't see it now, it's so dang dark. But there's 40 acres here that we're doing, and we've probably got about 25 or so done, so it won't take too terrible long tomorrow to get finished up. God dang it. Just before the cutter disc gets in the ground, the teeth is touching, and that's what's balled up all the foxtail and bean stubble. Not usually a big deal to unclog, just kind of push on it forward a little bit and it'll fall down off of there. There we go. So that'll move. Sure we still got our teeth. Yep. What's that? Huh. A piece of strap iron? That's weird. Well, everything looks good. Well, hopefully I can drop it down and scatter that stuff out just a little bit. That's a pretty big wad of stuff. I'm back at it today. It's been several days, probably 10 or so since we last run. That next day I came down and started on this farm and run pretty late. I didn't think we was going to get a chance to run again. And anyway, the tractor kind of malfunctioned. It wouldn't lift the 3-point out of the ground. So we got a new sensor for that, and hopefully it's going to hang in there for us. But I haven't got much. I did just this little, probably about 4 acres left here. We'll be completely done, and it's doing a good job still. It's pretty cold out now. It's down to just over freezing. It was pretty froze over the night. They've got pretty good froze crust, and she's almost greasy, but it's dried down enough now that I think we can run. So hopefully we can hammer down and keep this thing moving. I need to get this finished up. It's supposed to be cold all week now, just above freezing during the day, and well, it's supposed to be 17 tonight, so that'll be a nice little frost. So this will work even if it's slightly froze, but you don't want it to be super froze. Otherwise, it'll dig in, but the dirt will be so hard it'll bust those shanks and twist them all to shit. Won't be any good. We don't need that. So like I said, this is all I got right here on the other side of me. Some short little rows. Right over here is where the planter run out, and the hired guy got the pickup stuck over there. And I'll try to show that if I get the camera out handy here. I'll show you where he got stuck, and it just made super impressions in the ground. And then the cultivator came through, and we made a trip right through that soft spot with the cultivating tractor. So it's got a pretty good a hole there, rut there, whatever you want to call it. So we'll get that ripped out, get the bottom broke out, so it won't be holding water anymore. Not very much left. Probably about 4 acres, maybe 3. But as you can see here, you can definitely tell the difference from where we was the other day. The ground's being a little bit more froze. It's definitely showing the breakage a lot bigger. it's ripping up big chunks of dirt and just cracking it, breaking it wide open. And that's essentially what it's doing down deep under the ground too, down at the hard pan. It's lifting that ground up and cracking it. Then when we get some good hard freeze this winter, hopefully it won't have a lot of super snowpack right on. When that'll freeze this winter, that'll just make those fractures even larger and really break up the hard pan. It really works pretty good. A lot of times when it's super hard and you're ripping up where the combine or grain carts have been dragging across the end rows, you'll actually see, when that thing lifts up, you'll see great big huge chunks from shank to shank, big chunks of dirt coming up with it, and it'll actually look like blocks, like you look at underneath the semi when you block something up. It looks like great big blocks of dirt. Really pretty nice. Well, we're not really picking up any dirt on the tires, so it's definitely not greasy enough to bother me. So I think we'll be going just long enough to get this done here, and then we'll be set. I got the boy coming out here in a little bit. He wants to ride with me, and hopefully I can get him to show some up close action of those shanks back there, what it's really doing. That'd be pretty neat. Got some CRP here that we're kind of using as headlamps, so I don't have end rows to do on this side. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for that. Shouldn't bother because it's after that nesting season. And I'm not driving repetitively, so hopefully it won't be a big problem. Finally, got her all done. Now we'll head back home and we can get this thing off the tractor. Get this thing off of the tractor. And that is the only bit of ripping I have to do this year. So, yep. Well, that's going to be it for a little while, guys. Wait for the landlord. He didn't wave. That's kind of weird. Anyway. So anyway, guys, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get the next video popped up on your phone or computer, however you're watching me. And that way you can be first to see. And don't forget to share so your friends or whoever we get a little more publicity on this. So there's just not too many people that really know how farming in general, especially organic farming, how that stuff works. So hit the share and hit the notification bell, like and give me a good thumbs up. Stay tuned for more videos. Catch you later.